The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
It is now 1 o'clock, and we would like to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today for today's webinar. My name is Caesar, and I will be your host for today. Today is February 9th, 2021, and you are here for session 5, a summary, which is the last part in a 5-part series of the IOR training webinars. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and download the presentation for today. It's in PDF format under the handout section of the GoToWebinar slide in that toolbox. We've also provided a tips from the experts guide for working on projects under OSHPD jurisdiction. Both of those are in PDF format, and you'll find that they provide a lot of good information for you, and you can reference those as you go through this webinar. Today, you're here for a presentation just over 30 minutes. Like I said, this is the last part in a 5-part series that helps guide you through how to prepare for the IOR exam, for the Inspector of Record exam here at OSHPD. We will be playing a recording which may announce previous dates, so never mind those dates. And if you have any questions about any upcoming presentations or any just general questions, feel free to email us at oshpd.fddisu@oshpod.ca.gov. Again, that's oshpd.fddisu@oshpod.ca.gov. If we experience transmission difficulties, please feel free to log off and log back in using the login information that the GoToWebinar provided you when you registered for the webinar. And we will do the same, as technology is a little quirky sometimes. And if you were able to participate in the webinar earlier today, we had some transmission difficulties with the GoTo software. So please log off and log back in if you do experience that. Today for presenters, we have Mr. James Pan. He is with the Inspection Services Unit, and he's a district structural engineer within the Office of Statewide Health Planning and Development. Again, we're going to be playing a video. So if you have any questions about the dates that are provided, please never mind that and email us if you have questions about those dates or any up and coming presentations. So with James, if you're there, I'm going to go ahead and hand the presentation over to you. All yours.
Yes, I'm here. So good morning, everybody. This is James Pan. So I will be conducting the summary section of this webinar. So for the one who had joined in the prior webinars, part 1 was covered by Nancy Rippenstove and Michelle Lachenka about the application process. Part 2 was by our supervisor, Jola Bui, who did the preparation of the exam and what are in the exam for codes and plain reading. Part 3 is by Caesar, and Caesar did the TIO and some safety and whatnot. Part 4 was by Monica, and it includes some IOR duties and some, again, how to prep the exam. And we also have Chris Davis. He might not be able to join us in the main portion of the presentation, but he will be helping us on the Q&A. So again, the agenda. Sorry about that. The slides that I created will be the IO1 responsibilities. Those are the slides that are different from the prior sections. Section 1 is the minimum qualification technical exams, and I will be briefly cover the A, B, and C exam types and the qualifications. Section 2 is the exam format. There are two exams for Class A and B, and it's the written portion for which are the code questions, and then the plain reading section. How to plan the exams and how to read a set of plans. We will go over that quickly because that's an individual commitment and to gain and retain the knowledge by yourself. Okay. Sorry about that. There's a slight delay, and then I click on the cursor faster than what it needs to be. So Section 3 is actually the TIO form or the TIO program, and the DOR's responsibilities versus the IOR's responsibility, the IOR strength, and the daily reports that are required to be prepared, how to complete them properly, and when to notify OSHPD the discrepancies and corrective actions. And Monica covered the OSHPD field monitoring and the IOR performance. And in Section 4, the common theme is the IOR's responsibilities, right? So that's what the first few main slides of my summary. Then we will have a guest speaker, and then we will go to the questions and answers. So IOR's responsibility. So I'm doing this presentation kind of from the end. So if you are the IOR and at the completion of the project or every 12 months for a longer project or larger project, you will be review on your IOR's performance of duties. So there are 8 items, and ISU, we have been trying to be friendly, and we haven't been giving you the code sections when we conducting webinars, but this will be from 7145 and 7151. These are the 2 sections that are the IOR's responsibilities. So I will read them, one by one. The first one is the inspector shall have personal knowledge obtained by continuous inspection of all parts of the work of construction in all stages of its progress to ensure that the work is in accordance with the approved construction documents. So the parentheses are the code sections, and it will be observed if you have conducted a meet or does not meet of these duties at the end of the project or during the 12 months period. Number 2 is the all inconsistencies or seeming errors in the approved construction document shall be reported promptly to the architect or engineering responsible charge for interpretation and instruction, and that's 7145A3. And the architect or engineer in responsible charge, you will see the term DPOR that we use in throughout the webinars. Number 3 is the inspector shall maintain a file of approved construction documents on the job at all times, including all codes and regulations referred to in the approved construction document and all reports of tests and inspections. And delete the second sentence because that's that's 7145A3 that I covered earlier. I apologize when I was copying and pasting. Oh, this might be in the observation forms that I was mistakenly duplicate. So this is 7145A4. Number 4 is the inspector shall notify the office as required by CAC 145A5, and they include 48 hours for the first placement of concrete when project start or resume, and when project stop, right? And then there's another one 48 hours in advance when the foundation form is ready. So just review the requirement for 7145A5. Number 5, the inspectors of records shall maintain field records as the daily reports of construction progress for each day or any portion of a day that they are present at the project site location. So that's 7145A6. Number 6 is all field records of construction progress that including the daily IOR reports, test and special inspection report, etc., shall be retained on the job site until the completion of the work. And these 2 are the code sections for it. Number 7 is the inspector shall notify the contractor in writing of any deviation from the approved construction document or new construction not in compliance with the California Building Standard Codes. That's 7145B, and this is a very I would say a very critical, and some people do not like to post fill in, and you might not use the word as non-compliance notice. However, anything that is deviations or deficiencies and it's not corrected immediately, that you need to inform the contractor record in writing. And next, number 8 is the verified compliance report shall be submitted to the office at the intervals or stages of the work as stated in the approved testing, inspection, observation program and when required by the office. And these are the 3 sections of the code, and it's 7151. So next is the section 1. So then these are the application forms that you download from our website. And for Class A, these 2 slides show the metrics, and you need to select one of the method that you want to apply. And the right side column are the required documents, and all these are actually in CAC 7204. We did not make up the requirements. They are all in the regulations. And the majority of people will be qualifying through method 1, right? So you need to have 6 years of document experience on inspections of type 1 or 2 constructions. And on the right-hand side, these are the additional required documents that you need to submit with your applications. And same thing for Class B. Class B, majority of us will be qualifying through method 1, and that's 4 years of experience on type 1 or 2 constructions. However, there are other ways that you can be qualified for. And again, the right-hand side columns are the required documents. Class C, there are many specialties noted in the regulations. And most of you might have certifications noted on the in the CAC 7204C already. However, that certification alone is not the only requirements. You still need to submit document experience of 4 years. And the 4 years is not just on inspection only. You could be the representative of doing testing or observation of any of these parties, participants. So just kind of keep in mind that for Class A and B, you must be doing inspections. Like for Class C, you could be an observer, or you could be the person that's conducting some test. And again, there are 2 other methods to get into Class C. I have this pool questions is not live, so it is how many classifications are there for the OSHPD certified hospital inspectors? So think of a few seconds and I will provide the answer. So as you know, there are 3 classifications for our OSHPD certified inspectors, A, B, and C. So next, I will be covering the exam format. So for Class A, there are 80 questions in the core knowledge and 80 questions in the plain reading, and they are 4 hours each. And for the core reading is weighted more heavily on the administrative regulations and in the structural discipline. However, keep in mind the core and plain reading, the scores are combined and average. So I expect people who are applying have a good knowledge on how to read pens. That's the key. Who are complex and you might not be well rounded on all the requirements. However, in reading, in my personal opinion, it is the same throughout the disciplines. Class B, again, is 80 questions for the code sections. It's 4 hours, weighted more heavily on the admin portion. However, in the afternoon, it's only 40 questions on the plain reading, and it's 2 hours. And it's not weighted on any one discipline. For Class C, majority of the applicants will be taking the administrative portion only. It's 20 questions, 1 hour. However, if you are applying to our anchorage and bracing specialties, you will require to take 2 tests, and one is the admin, and then one is the anchorage and bracing. So it's 2 hours and 1 hour each. And they are no in reading for any of the Class C exams. So how can you best prepare for the exam? Core knowledge, these are the highlights that I gather from the prior presentations. You want to gather all the code books and reference standards and materials. They might be HTMs and whatnot, and NPS. Review the table of contents and to familiarize yourself how to find different areas of interest quickly. And keep in mind, working on OSHPD acute care projects, there are adoption tables at the beginning of each chapter. So you want to take a look on the adoption tables, the metrics, and then OSHPD 1 and 4, usually they are brackets on the sections on which chapters or sections that are actually adopted. And highlight key code sections, title, and influence, that are focused on healthcare facilities, right? And then you might want to tab the books, so you can easily find them. And one of the suggestions that we obtained was, the index are in the back, but you might want to put them in the front, so you don't need to go to the back of the codes, to get the table of content, not the table of contents, but the index. And talk to others, on how to prep for the exam. If you are the special inspectors, talk to the IOR that you are working together on a regular basis. And one key thing is, look at the TIO form, right? All the required tests and special inspections, ISU actually spend a lot of time to update them every 3 years. And the code section that are required is actually noted on each line item. And lastly, you want to, personally commit some time to take the exam. It's not easy. I'm a structural engineer, and when I took the structural engineering exam, it could be on anything, right? And it's just the same thing as as our Class A exams. And in reading, I would like to emphasize that perhaps some of us or you are kind of hand-feeling on the details, especially for the special inspectors. You are not reading it from the plans, and the specific detail is provided to you. So I have observed many individuals that, are just flipping through pages and sheets and try to find the details. That's not the way to do plan reading. You go to the plan first, and the plans, will give you information to refer you to another detail sheets and whatnot. So that's how you will need to navigate the drawings. And usually the drawings the construction documents are organized by discipline, right? A is MEP or A is MPE. Mechanical and plumbing are together. There's no plumbing engineer, it's the mechanical engineer's discipline. And again, to understand all the symbols are for different disciplines and abbreviations. Usually for the different disciplines, it's pretty standardized now that you will not see any spatial symbols and whatnot. And if they are noted on the drawings. And then this kind of conclude section 2. So what should you know prior to taking the Class A or B exam? Is it only core knowledge, or is it only plain reading skills, or is it core knowledge and plain reading skills, or you don't know? So the correct answer is core knowledge and plain reading skills. Going to section 3, what is the test and inspection observation program? It is a guide that the design professional use in administration of the construction for OSHPD projects, and is to increase the collaboration, accountability, and cooperations, and it provide assistance and efficient development and implementation of the co-required tests. And it is a guide for field staff and IORs too, right? On every specific items, if the required tests are performed and these required special inspections are conducted. And it clarified the roles and responsibility for each party involved. and define the milestones in each project. And at times, milestones and intervals are not fine. However, if the owners or the designer want to obtain a certificate of substantial compliance, that's when the field staff may require you to have a special verified compliance report. And that's when it's required by the offers and in the TIO program. So this is the sample of the TIO program, the form. If you use the OSHPD form. And what is the TIO program? As the maintenance and administration, the TIO is a required element for OSHPD projects. The design professional record DPOR maintain all aspects of the TIO program to be current, and it is a so-called living documents, and any changes could be made by we so-called the non-material alternate change, and you just need to get one of the field staff to approve by initial and daily changes. And it's like I say, it's an evolving project, and they are really static. So any changes, usually the TIO program that's approved a building permit, every column, the individuals and firms are left blank as TBD. So prior to the start of that specific task, either the test or inspection that need to be identified, and that one of the field staff to approve it. Here today, I'm actually having a delay or issue on advancing the slide.
No problem. I'll go ahead and advance the slides for you.
Yeah, because at times there's too much delay, and then when I advance it again, then it jump on the slide. So if you could help me. So next slide.
Sure.
So the even though the TIO is the DPOR's administrative responsibility, the IOR will be monitoring the TIO, right? Because you are the person that know the project on site and what will be required to conduct tests and spatial inspections. So you would need to have the personal knowledge when the inspection or test that's performed on or off site, and any qualified entities that you want to identify and confirm that those individual or the firms are the one that's been approved by the designer and DPOR and OSHPD, and they are actually independent entities. Although some tests could be conducted by the contractors, we will just confirm the individual or firms are by the TIO. And then reported, including the description of the work tested or inspected, as well as the definitely compliance statements. So many tests and spatial inspection require the IOR's presence at the job site. You do not obtain that knowledge just by reporting of others. You actually need to be on site. So next. So who is responsible for what? So for the DPOR should coordinate with the owner, the OSHPD field staff, the IOR, and the design team, gather, distribute all the VCR. Actually, that's the DPOR's responsibility. And although many IORs have been gathering and presenting the VCR to field staff, due to the IOR is the person that talking to field staff. However, it is actually the DPOR's responsibility, and also the TIO form is the DPOR's responsibility. Next. And you will see the delegate terms used in the design professionals. They are the AOR is the DPOR, and then SEOR, MEOR, and EEOR. And they will be coordinating with the DPOR, and the DPOR usually is the architect of record. We use the AOR term for all the tests and spatial inspection required on the project. And they will be conducting field visits to observe and report conditions relative to their designs. So if they have observation report, the IOR should obtain those reports and keep it as part of the field records. And then they are required to submit VCRs, as identified on the TIO or when it's required by OSHPD. Next. And this is the flow chart you have seen, that the who are the delegates, and it could be all those, and then additionally any deferred submittal items, and sometimes even ACDs for the other specialties, curtain walls, the MEP, seismic bracings, all those are delegates, and those are records of the project. And again, every delegate could have more than one alternate to who have the same qualifications to assist them on the projects. And you will find all those individuals' name on ESP, and all project participants could see everything in the project through our ESP system, and your account will be the ECA account. So next. And the IOR's responsibility is to oversee overall quality assurance of the project. We are the QA portion of the team, and the QC quality control is done by the contractor. And the IOR will be coordinating and report and validating the work done by the testing laboratories, the owner provided third party agencies, and then the spatial inspectors too. Next. And continuing on, the IOR's responsibility will be will be validating the credentials of the special inspectors. So the special inspectors, if they are pre-approved by OPAA, the OPAA has a table of the listed individuals, and what they could be conducting on the special inspection are all listed. And if it's project specific, there should be a matrix or a binder of listed individual who have been approved by the DPOR and OSHPD. So you should be validating if whoever showed up on the job site are the individuals. You will be collecting the test and spatial inspection reports, and you will be distributing to field staff when of the contractors and owners and DPOR for those reports. Next. And again, validating the work done by the contractors, and you will be submitting VCR to the DPOR as identified on the TIOs, and keeping records relative to for the sign off on the on the line items, and performing all IOR tests and spatial and inspection identified on the TIOR as the IOR's responsibility. Next. And what do you do if the project has more than one IOR? So in 7144, saying that when there's more than one IOR, the duties of each individual shall be clearly identified. And on our TIO form, we actually have a page to list the duties of each individual. And in addition, the IOR shall be identified, and that person will be kind of almost like a spokesperson to coordinating and communicating with the OSHPD field staff. And again, the IOR shall be approved by OSHPD prior to working on projects. If you are not approved by us, you are not actually the IOR, right? IOR is project specific. You will be just a certified hospital inspector. Next. And the IOR's daily report, that's in 7145A6, and it's required that you need to have a daily report, although it does not state that you need to prepare them on a daily basis. However, you should do them on as soon as possible, so you might not forget on what happened a day or 2 days ago. And the next four bullets are the minimum require that are noted in the admin on what should the daily reports include, and I just briefly go over the time of arrival and departure, summary of work in progress, any deficiencies and deviations you need to note it. And then lastly, many IORs that I observe and not be doing that is it actually say that, when the corrections have been made for the deficiency and or deviations, you need to note it in your daily reports on the date, time, and the method of corrections. So keep in mind that is one of the minimum requirements. Next. And IOR shall maintain field records on site and includes your dailies, the test and special inspection report, a list of test reports of all non-conforming materials or defective workmanship, and indicate the method of corrections, and that's the same as the as your daily, and approved construction documents, and including the codes and any deferred submittals, change orders, and whatnot, the TIO form, and then the building permit. And if you are considering using the cloud, any Dropbox and whatnot, discuss this with the field staff and to meet these code sections, and that usually require you to have Wi-Fi or internet access at the project site. If not, then hard copy will be required because field staff may show up at the project site when you are not there. Next. And continue on field records for concrete, and this are actually in the admin to include, and that's why some IORs stated that if I have special inspectors, why do I need to be there? And this is one of the reasons, right? The regulations actually say that you need to be there, and these are the minimum requirements that you need to note it in your daily records. Next. Same thing for welding. Many IORs do not know, or they forgot that you're supposed to know the ID marks of each welders and listed the defective welds and the manner of corrections of the defects that you need to include it in your daily reports too. Next. Same thing for pile foundations, right? The next four borders are actually in the regulations. You need to list it how the pilings are being done, and include the name of the equipment used and the model numbers and whatnot. Next. And deviations from plans, what do you do? So hospital construction projects are often very complicated, and there are ways to do. It usually is by the RFI process, and at times that it actually change the approved construction documents. So in this scenario, what do you do? Next. So if you encounter any deviations from the approved construction documents, you want to make the contractor aware of the deviations. If the deviations are not corrected immediately, you need to notify the contractor in writing, and that's 7145B. A copy of the notice shall be forwarded to the DPOR owner and OSHPD. Next. Notice to OSHPD, these are the IOR's responsibilities, any deviation from the approved construction documents when work started or resumed on the project. The next are the things that I covered previously, 48 hours in advance for first time of the placement of concrete, and then the foundation changes are complete, ready for forms. And when work been suspended for a period of more than 2 weeks, you are required to inform the field staff about this. And regulations do not say what's the method of notifying OSHPD. It could be an email, phone call, but I suggest to do an email so you have a record when you inform OSHPD. Next. I have a poll question. What are the field records of construction to be maintained by the IORs? It's just the approved construction document, the IOR's daily records of reports, or test and special inspection reports, or all of the above, or don't note. So the answer is all of the above, right? So next. So how to be a strong IOR? We are getting into the nitty-gritties of IOR's duties and responsibilities. So you need to know the code, which includes reference standards. And now the last few code cycles, now we adopted the manufacturer's installation instructions. So keep in mind, if the approved construction documents reference to any manufacturer's installation constructions, they are part of the approved construction documents, and you need to gain access to those instructions and read them before any work is conducted, and that including the research, the evaluation reports too. Knowing the symbols on the margin of the codes that usually tell you if the code's been updated, changed, or any code section been removed. There are different symbols for different codes. And what happened when there's a conflict between codes and reference standards? Monica had briefly informed you that when there's a conflict between codes and reference standards, code will be governed. It's not the most restricted. When there's conflict between codes, then usually the Pacific codes will be governing over the general sections, right? So it's not always just the most stringent or most conservative codes or reference standard will govern. And read the approved construction documents. This is something that I've been encountering when I conduct my regular field visits. People might, depending on your backgrounds, you might think that what is being constructed is code compliance. However, that might not be what the designer wants on that specific project. There's always a few ways to build something code compliance. However, you want to ensure what you are inspecting is actually what is shown on the approved construction documents. And most of our projects lately are remodel projects, so you do not have a set of specifications. However, many specifications are covered on the plans now, so make sure you read those specifications. And next. And key part is have an open communication with all the project participants, and that including the owners, the DPOR, the contractor records, and OSHPD field staff, right? And although not required by regulations, pre-construction meeting is preferable to kind of identify who is responsible for what, and if the IOR is going to be responsible for calling all the required tests and special inspections, is the IOR is going to be the person communicating with field staff on RFIs and whatnot and submittals. So, and having a regular OCA meetings is ideal. Identify IOR's responsibility, and I kind of talk about that, who, if the IOR will be the person that is contacting the approved agency for tests and special inspections, and construction and inspection schedules, you'll be working with the contractor on that, and you are the eye and ears of the DPOR and OSHPD. And schedule regular field visit with OSHPD field staff. The project schedule, and before covering up, I suggest to contact the field staff, and if not, OSHPD field staff, we do run our reports on a regular basis, so we kind of know if the project has started and if the IORs have not informed OSHPD about the project. So next. And the next is the clarification. Go back one slide, Caesar. So clarifications and interpretations, that is that is the DPOR's responsibilities, and I hope the IORs will not direct work. Actually, next slide, Caesar. So any deviations or any confusions always reported to the DPOR for interpretations or directions on it. And for kind of with the non-material alternate change, since code cycle ago in 2013, we have kind of deviated ourselves on the AIA's definition of supplemental instructions, the addendums, the change orders and whatnot. Now is we are using non-material altered change or material altered change. So kind of we 7153, and then also the remodel the amended construction document for older project 2010 and prior. And the material altered change that's actually require an ACD, and ACD means amended construction documents. And next. So as I mentioned earlier, if you are not contacting the field staff, it is actually the field staff's duties and responsibility to conduct field visit, and so then it is the judgment is necessary or proper by us. So even if you feel that you do not need to contact field staff will be visiting the project site, and that's why the field workers shall be remain on the project site. So if you are using the cloud base, make sure that you have a link or somehow that you are providing to the field staff. So when field staff are on site, he or she can gain access of the field records. Next. And also monitoring of the OSHPD's inspector records performance. This is 7213. And it is OSHPD field staff's responsibilities, and that's why I show the first 8 items that are noted in the IOR's performance of duties form at the end of the project or 12 months period. That and also if the IOR is not competent or not adequate, the field staff will note it in his or her field visit report and then inform the governing board or authority. And if it's a severe case, then the field staff will inform the RCO to recommend a stop work order, and then the RCO will be the person to determine if stop work order will be issued. Next. So IOR's good performance to be responsible, be respectable, to know the codes and know the project and your duties, and be having a constant communication with all the project participants. And there's this so-called guide for working on projects under OSHPD's jurisdiction, and this is actually on our website. And there are many tips in that guide that including communication with OSHPD, and there's a section on IORs. So I encourage everybody to read that, even though it's not in the regulations, and we do not cite you on violations if you do not do the items recommended by the guy. Next. Next, kind of conclude section 4. So the 4 questions are: what are the responsibility of the IORs? Is it working under the direction of the DPOR? Conduct continuous inspection of all parts of the work of construction for the approved construction documents. To maintain field records. Is it all of the above or no vote? So the answer is all of the above, right? Next.
So that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you for sticking with us until the end. If you have specific questions about the presentation, if you are interested in becoming an IOR, please let us know. The application is on our website. If you have questions about the application, feel free to contact us as well. We'd be happy to help you out with that. So that concludes our presentation for today. We want to thank you for your interest in becoming a certified inspector of record with the Office of Statewide Health Planning and Development. So until next time, stay healthy and stay safe.